Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Potsie Chronicles. And boy, were they knocking on our door with this one, huh?
Yeah, knocking. Now, here's the deal. If you're listening to these in order, you may have noticed last week was episode 13. This week is episode 15. It was episode 14 to us, but 15 in the programs. And here's why. On the DVD, I couldn't remember the name of the Beatnik episode, so I passed, I guess, the one that was next and got to this one. So this is not the next episode per se in sequential order like I had hoped we would watch, but I definitely didn't want to go back and watch the other one. I don't think you did either right after this, right?
No.
Yeah. So we're just going to do this and then we'll watch. I hope that a lot of big stuff didn't happen in episode 14, like maybe explaining why Chuck's gone. Maybe, I don't know, all kinds of things could have happened that we missed, but we're just going to have to wait, hopefully, and see it next time. Yeah. So episode 15, 13 to 15. It's not one of those things where we skipped the number 14, like sometimes in hotels, they'll skip 13, like they'll say floor 12, floor 14, even though 14's still 13. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like you can call it whatever you want. It's still floor 13. But no, we did not skip the episode on purpose. I just couldn't remember the name of the episodes or where we were. To let you know, on a DVD menu, it doesn't say like this is next, and I couldn't remember which is next because that was a godforsaken episode that we saw. So I made yet another mistake with these Happy Days DVDs, making quite a few with this. Yeah. So episode 15, if we make it past this one, we'll go to episode 14 next week and just, swap it out. You think there's a lot of plot points that they do in each of these episodes that you have to watch in order?
What if it showed, like, the Fonz just scheming?
Yeah, what if it is like the Fonz, they catch him, and then he decides to go good?
And
like he broke bad, but then he broke whatever the opposite, broke good, I guess?
it shows his, like, master plan as well.
Yeah, that could be. So, I don't know. Well, maybe we'll see next week. But this week, we have episode 15 called Knock Around the Block. Maybe we'll watch 14 next week if we make it that far. So, what did you think about Knock Around the Block when you saw that title?
So, what I thought is it was just going to be a normal day in the Cunningham house, right?
Okay.
And they get a knock at the door, and Richie goes to answer it, and it's the Fonz. And the Fonz is like, maybe like taking him on to like a Rick and Morty adventure or something like that. And
Okay.
I didn't know like what the adventure would be, but it'd be something like that.
That would have been a good plot, perhaps better than this one. Although, I will say this, not that it was a huge bar, but this was much better than the episode we saw last week. So, again, I know I don't play this game, but here's what I thought it would be. I thought it would be some kind of derf shenanigans where maybe they were going around the block. Maybe Ralph Mouth decided this, that they would go knocking on doors and running, door ditch or whatever. Not door dash. That's actually if you order some food. But ditch knocking. What is it called? Ditch, ding dong ditch. I don't know what it's
Ding
called.
dong ditching?
Yeah. Do they still call it that? They probably would have called it that in the 50s. Don't you think? Ding dong ditch.
Yeah.
You think they had that in the 50s where they did those kinds of pranks?
I don't know.
Knocking on the doors and then just running away. Like, what's the point of that, really? Let's just get into this for a second. Like, you ring the doorbell, you run, the person answers, they look, and they don't say anything. Like, what's funny about that? You know?
Maybe just like how confused they are.
Yeah, I guess so. I don't know.
You're wasting their time. I don't know.
Yeah, I guess that's a waste of time. I guess, like maybe let's say back in the 50s, someone's watching Milton Berle. They didn't have a TiVo. Maybe Milton Berle's doing like some kind of commercial. Maybe he's got on like a pet that juggles. You know what I mean? And they're like, oh, I'm all excited. I've been waiting all day. I've been working my whatever job they had in the 50s, and I'm ready to see this pet juggle. Then ding dong. And it's like Ralph Mouth running. And he's like, oh, that could be important. I got to miss my pet juggling, right?
Yeah. Could you imagine if Durf and Ralph Mouth teamed up?
That would be a great team. I'd love to see that.
I mean, just imagine, like, who do you think would be better, Durf and Zach or Durf and Ralph Mouth?
I don't know, because Durf would do that kind of noise, and then what would Ralph do?
I don't
Blow
know.
a bubble?
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, that would be interesting. I'd love to see that. I wonder if we could somehow make that happen. Durf and Ralph Mouth.
The principal told me to tell you guys all something. You're all expelled. And then everyone's silent.
And then Durf does that scream.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd like that. That'd be good.
Yeah, that'd be a great duo.
Yeah. So, yeah, but sadly it wasn't Durf and Ralph Mouth. Ralph Mouth was in this episode, though. All right, so episode 15, not 14. Again, we'll watch that perhaps next week if we make it past this. Knocker on the Block was not about Ding Dong ditching, and it was not about the Fonz going on a Rick and Morty adventure, although I would have loved to have seen that. Either one, actually. But, yeah, so we open at Arnold's. Ralph Mouth has this little kind of like ring box, right? Like the jewelry box. And he's showing Potsie and Richie like his fingers through the box, right? And then he asks for some ketchup. And he pours ketchup on his finger. And he's like, I'm going to play a prank. It looks like a dead finger. And here's what I'm wondering. If he's holding it up like, well, this is a visual so you can't see. But if he's holding it up like you see his hand, right? So wouldn't anybody know that that's his finger?
I feel like it.
Yeah, like I don't mean to poke holes in the pranks of Ralph Mouth, but I feel like immediately that's a red flag. Like, oh, that's his hand holding it. That's his finger through there. You know what I mean? That's ketchup.
I mean, unless it's someone like Potsie, though.
Yeah, I wonder why he didn't trick Potsie. So it wasn't Potsie he was tricking. Potsie and Richie are on the other side, but
because I feel like Potsie would be the person to fall for that, because he's kind of, I don't know if stubborn's the word to use.
Yeah, that could be a word that you use, Potsie, yeah. But instead, it's the waitress that quits, whose name is Marcia. I believe we've figured that out before. Marcia comes up, and I'm thinking, oh, she's probably going to quit, but she has a bunch of food for these three. A big giant sundae, which we'll come back into later. Not a moose-sized sundae, but a sundae for Ralph Mouth. Stuff for the other guys. And Ralph Mouth, says they chipped in and they got her a gift. He picks up the box, shows the finger that's his, and she says something like she already ate, so she absolutely knew it was Ralph Mouth's finger.
Yeah.
And then they tell Ralph Mouth he used to be funnier, and he replies something like, hey, they can all be great.
Poor Ralph Mouth.
Yeah.
I mean, he's trying his best.
Yeah, he's doing his best, but his best just isn't quite good enough here. And then this kind of gang comes in wearing red jackets that we've never seen before. And we got this one guy that looks like he's about 5 feet tall. You got another guy that's got, oh, and don't forget they played Hound Dog at the beginning. So Elvis is getting either some money or he's getting completely ripped off here. Yeah.
I don't know if they had copyright back. I feel like we discussed this before.
Yeah. I know it is.
They did.
It's interesting to see if it is. Because they also played Tequila in there again. They played like all these songs that like nowadays, I feel like it'd be like a lot of money if you got a Sabrina Carpenter song, let's say. I mean, with Sabrina Carpenter might not be the Elvis to this time of the 50s. I don't know. Who do you think would be the Elvis of the, like now?
That's a good question.
Yeah, we'd have to
just like a really popular artist.
Yeah. Was Elvis like the most popular in the 50s or was he just kind of popular?
I feel like he'd probably, I don't know who was the most popular then, but like to be popular now, I'd probably say him.
Who, Elvis?
Yeah.
Yeah, like now when you think of the 50s, you might think of Elvis. At least I would, because I don't know anybody else from the 50s except the Tequila people, which I didn't know that was a 50s song, but I guess it is. Yeah. So anyways, they're playing all these songs at different times. They play that See You Later Alligator song again. So then getting back to this, the gang comes in. We got the 5 foot tall guy. We got a guy wearing sunglasses and he's got like kind of a ducktail at the front, which I guess was popular in the 50s. And then you have like these 2 other guys. Did the big guy come in with them? Or did he come in later? I can't remember. I feel like he came in with them, right?
Yeah, I feel like he did too.
Yeah, and he's like, hey, there's a redheaded guy. The Dukes. They're called the Dukes. That's right. Not the Dukes from Trading Places. Did you ever see Trading Places?
I have no
With Eddie
clue what
Murphy?
that is.
Okay. We got to see that sometime. We'll talk about that later. But the Dukes is the name of the gang. They make pretty good mayonnaise as well. And come in and like, one of them's like, hey, some redhead was on our turf today. We want to talk to him. And the amazing thing is like there's actually 2 potential suspects. Like most of the time, perhaps if you went into a sitcom and said, hey, the redhead, there's like one person. You know what I mean?
Yeah, normally they'd probably describe someone and, it'd just be one person, just, I guess, to add some comedy.
Yeah.
But here it was not the same.
Yeah. So then Ralph Mouth is like, I've never even been there, blah, 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 blah. And then Richie owns up to it. He's like, yeah, I was on your turf. And the little guy goes, I mean, I hate to call his name was Squirt. Let's just call him that.
Mr. Squirt.
Yeah, Mr. Squirt. Yeah, Squirt. But then Richie later calls him, he says something like, they call me Squirt. And Richie says, well, hey, Squirt. He goes, no, you call me Mr. Squirt. So anyway, Squirt, before that, actually unplugs the jukebox. We forgot to mention that. He comes in to Arnold's territory. I don't know I guess the Fonz is the head of the Arnold's territory, right? Or would Potsie be? Or Marcia?
I don't,
Or Arnold?
No. I feel like, here's what I think, right? I think Fonzie owns every place.
Yeah. Yeah, Fonzie really theoretically owns the Duke's territories.
Even if it's your house.
Yeah. So he comes in, unplugs the thing, then they do the whole thing with the redheads. Ralph Mouse says, was it him? Richie says it was him. And then he's like, somebody was making fun of a little girl that happened to be his sister, right? And Richie stopped them from making fun of him or something, or harassing her, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So he's like, I'm really happy. You can come on the Duke's turf anytime, and I owe you one. So then they leave, and then they put Ralph Mouse's hat down after he says it wasn't him. So he's just sitting there with the hat over his face.
They probably did do him a favor by putting his hat, like down to his eyes or whatever, because he was scared out of his mind seeing all these big people and whatnot. And I'm sure just not seeing anything would just be a better case for Ralph Mouth. It's kind of like when you're getting like a shot or whatever at the doctor and you're like, I don't want to see this because this might look bad.
Yeah, you kind of turn away or they're like drawing blood.
Yeah.
Yeah, I could definitely see that then. So, but then Squirt says to Potsie, says, hey, that's a nice ring, punk. Let me see it. And then I think they're going to steal it, but then they just put his hand in Ralph Mouse's big sundae.
Man, I think it would have been better if they just took the ring. I mean...
Yeah, that's kind of what I thought, but then we do get to something here in a second. But yeah, then Ralph Mouth doesn't want to eat the sundae, which I don't blame him, and he tells, Potsie he eats it. But I'm wondering, like, how much that sundae cost back in the 1950s.
I was about to mention that. I don't know, but I bet you it would have been, like, probably, $20 at least now?
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Like, if that happened nowadays, like, you'd have to take out another mortgage, to get a sundae somewhere. But back then, I wonder if it's just like, this is a bummer, but, here's 5 cents. I'll take another sundae,
Yeah.
Yeah. So we cut to the Cunningham driveway. Marion and Howard are cleaning out the trash cans. Howard's wearing an apron.
As he should.
Yeah. So they're cleaning out trash cans, and Howard's like, you don't want to concern yourself with these Dukes. They're hoodlums or hoods or something, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And Richie's like, well, the guy's being nice to me, all this stuff.
Isn't it kind of like crazy, though? He's like saying this, and I guess, was he like kind of more fine with the demons than he was with the Dukes?
Yeah, I feel like it. And Richie wanted to join the demons, which I will tell you this. We see someone wearing a demon's jacket, like just walking later, like just kind of in the background. But yeah, he did seem like, when his son was wearing women's clothes, he seemed kind of more okay with that than getting a favor from the Dukes, didn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I also wonder, like, are the Dukes and demons, like, rivals? And also, do the demons have, like, any territory?
I don't know. Because, like, the Dukes have territory, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Do they have, like, that kind of... Well, you probably have no idea what West Side Story is, do you?
No.
It was like a musical where they had the fighting gangs. But, yeah, the odd thing is like, I guess, like, I didn't realize there were gangs like this in the 50s. Like, the demons just seemed like guys that wore jackets. You know what I mean? Like, they didn't seem like they caused trouble that we knew of, at least.
Yeah.
But these guys are absolutely causing trouble because, they're putting Potsie's hand in a sundae. More stuff will come out, too, as well about the Dukes as we get through. But yes. Yeah. So Howard warns Richie. So then during the cleaning of the garbage cans, Potsie comes in and informs Richie that his bike is stolen, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and then he realizes that the Dukes did it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So then we cut to Arnold's parking lot. Fonzie is asking Richie about his mirrors, right?
Yeah.
And he says something like, I don't care about seeing behind me. I just want to see how good I look, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Fonzie's still wearing like kind of the windbreaker jacket here. So then Richie's like, hey, can I ask you some advice? These guys took Potsie's bike. What should I do? And he's like, well, you should hit the biggest guy. And Richie's like, I can't hit the biggest guy. He says, well, can you rabbit punch? No, I can't do that. Can you kick? No. And then he says, well, can you do it, Fonzie? And Fonzie's like, I can't go in for somebody's bike, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So Fonzie declines to do that. And then we cut to the pool hall where all the Dukes without Frankie. I think, is that his name? The big guy, Frankie?
I believe so.
Yeah. And there's a guy there that, like, they're causing all this damage. I think Squirt goes and he hits the soda pop machine. And as they do that, like, the wall bends. So, like, you can tell that, like, the wall is made out of, it's a set, of course, but, like, kind of gives the impression that it's not a wall. Did you see that, how the wall kind of bent?
Yeah. It was totally like the set.
Yeah. So, and there's a guy behind the counter that just says, I don't know nothing, I work here.
He basically says that for like every
Yeah,
thing.
he says that a few times. Like, he doesn't want any part of any of this. He just works there. So Richie comes in, and that's when he's like, they call me Squirt, and he says, hey, Squirt. He goes, that's Mr. Squirt to you. And he's like, I'm looking for Frankie. And they're like, well, Frankie ain't here. And he's like, well, my bike was taken away. I don't think he says stolen, right? I think he's too scared to say stolen, right?
Yeah, because I believe, like, Mr. Squirt says, you trying to say that we stole his bike? And I think Richie's says, like, no, you're putting words into my mouth.
Yeah.
Like that.
Yeah, he didn't really want to say that. So, and then they come in with Potsie's bike, and they apparently painted it red. And they're like, hey, well, maybe we can help you. What's this bike look like? And he's like, well, it looks like that, but it's blue. And the guy's like, well, this is a red bike. And he's like, yeah, but it's got some blue chips there. And then he pulls out like this paint can and he paints over. He goes, there's no blue now. And he's like, well, and here's the thing about this bike. Like, I'm really surprised they didn't just beat Potsie up instead of taking his bike because it's got a basket on it. I think we saw this bike before, didn't we?
Yeah.
Yeah, because he had like those groceries, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why would they want that, though? Like, maybe to sell it, but, like, I really don't get why you'd want to take that.
Yeah, what was the, like, resale market in the 50s? You know what I mean? Like, nowadays, I don't know if they still have Craigslist, but, like, nowadays, you could probably steal a bike. I'm not saying you should, but I'm saying, like, nowadays, if someone stole a bike, they could probably list it on somewhere easily. But, like, in the 50s, like, did they have to take out a want ad in the papers? You know what I mean? Like, did Mr. Squirt have to call, like, the Milwaukee Times and be like, yeah, I have a bike, I'd like to list this? And then people would have to come by. You know what I mean? The pool hall.
Yeah.
Like, how in the 50s did you resell stolen goods? That's what I'm wondering.
I don't know how they would have.
Yeah. And again, I'm hoping no one steals stuff and resells them, but I'm just saying that, like, how did they do that in the 50s? So, anyways, then he's like, well, there's a raccoon tail just like that. And Mr. Squirt takes the raccoon tail off and gives it to Richie. And then he says, like, the license plate says Potsie. And then he rips the license plate off and just throws it away. So he leaves without the bike. So then we're back in the Arnold's parking lot with Ralph Mouth, Potsie, and Richie, and they're talking to Fonzie and trying to get him to go, and he's still saying no, he's not going to help him out. Then he comes up with the saying that he's going to write on the bathroom wall, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so then they come up with the idea to get the football team to go help them get the bike back, and apparently Potsie was the water boy, and like the football team hated him, according to Rich, and they used to dump the water on him, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm sure that they're all ready to go risk their lives, with the Dukes to get Potsie's bike with the basket back. Yeah. Then we cut back to the Cunningham house, right?
Yes.
And, Howard is actually telling Richie, like, hey, just let the police handle this. Don't, do anything by yourself. Like, go there with these guys. And he's like, I know you'll make the right choice. And Richie's like, yeah, I'm going to go right now to the Dukes, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So then we cut to the pool hall. I believe like Richie and Ralph show up, right? It's just like Richie and Ralph. Yeah, Ralph Mouth and Richie are playing pool in the pool hall, kind of all by themselves. Then Potsie comes in and he's like, yeah, the football team's going to be here soon. Don't worry. And then the guy comes in with a high school sweater and a duck helmet. And apparently it's the mascot. So they don't have the football team, but they have the mascot. The mascot's like, oh, they're watching some movie. So apparently it's just Richie, Ralph Mouth, Potsie, and the duck to fight the Dukes. Wow.
Man, did that mascot even try getting them?
I don't think so. Yeah, you think he could have been like, hey, these guys are about to be beaten up badly. You know what I mean? If you guys, maybe you should just put the film. I mean, I know it wasn't like they didn't have VCRs or DVDs back then, but maybe they should have just stopped the film and then just started it. You can't really say pause, but you know what I mean?
I wonder if they were watching the backrooms.
Yeah, I don't know. The Dukes come in without Frankie again, just all of them. And then the guy that works there realizes something's about to go down, so he just leaves and he tells the Dukes to lock up. So, like, I guess he trusts the Dukes enough to, have them lock up his store, or
Yeah.
hall. So they're about to completely annihilate Ralph Mouth and the rest of the guys, right? And then Frankie comes in, like dressed in like a suit. He's carrying like a flashlight, right?
Yeah, and it seems like he's excited to see Richie.
Yeah, he's all excited. He's like, hey, that's my friend Richie. And like Richie's like, oh. And then he tells him that he's an usher and like he likes to shine the light on couples making out so that they drop their popcorn everywhere, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so he's all excited to see Richie. Richie's like, hey, I'd really like you to give my friend's bike back. And the guy's like, oh, yeah, sure. I said I owe you one. You saved my sister. He can have his bike back. And then somehow there's a note from Potsie somebody has, right?
Yeah.
That they pull out that says, like, the Dukes are going to be wiping their noses off the roof, right?
Yeah.
Or the ceiling. And then Frankie's like, well, of course, this changes things, which you would think, kind of being threatened by Potsie might actually, probably not be the best move.
Yeah.
For them to
I mean, it's one thing if it's like Richie threatening you,
Yeah.
but like Potsie with his crooning.
Yeah. So then they all like decide that they're going to punch. They like grab whoever they're going to punch.
You know what? I feel like if Potsie was going to fight someone, he would just have to croon and they'd be like, ah, God, you win.
Yeah, he'd get out like one of those Mr. microphones that they used to have. So do you know what a Mr. microphone? I don't know if they had that in the 50s, though. Do you know what that is?
No.
So like a Mr. microphone used to be like, it was like a toy and like it would project your voice over the radio so you could sing along with songs.
God.
So like Potsie, if they had those in the 50s, I doubt they did though, but like Potsie would just start, I don't know, singing one of the songs that they either have licensed or didn't. See you later, alligator, right?
Yeah.
And then they could, but no, Richie does try and do his whole like, hey, these other countries serve the United Nations. There's no wars, all this kind of stuff to try and like talk them out of. He was saying like violence never works, right? Which I'm surprised they didn't call him a beatnik.
Yeah.
Yeah. So doesn't matter to the Dukes. They'll grab somebody. Frankie grabs Richie, and then he realizes Richie's his friend, so he gives Richie to somebody else. And just as they're about to go to town and knock out these four, Fonzie comes in with like three guys all kind of dressed up like, and Fonzie's wearing the leather jacket here. Like Fonz is coming in full on Fonzie.
He's ready.
Yeah. And he's like, hey, I don't know if he says hey, but he's like, hey, I told my guys we're playing some pool. And then he's like, is there any trouble here? Doesn't he say something like that?
And then all the Dukes are afraid, especially Squirt, and they're like, no, not at all.
Yeah, they're all terrified of Fonzie and the guys. And he's like, we're ready to rumble. These guys are itching. They haven't rumbled. And then he hits the Coke machine and somehow gets two to come out at the same time because he's the Fonz. You know what I mean?
I think he even says to Richie, "Hey, you want a drink?"
Yeah. And then he gets two sodas that come out at the same time. And then he takes Frankie's Usher flashlight and he breaks it. And then he's like, "You owe me popcorn. That was me that you shined the light on." So, yeah. So then Frankie's terrified. Then, like, somehow he gets the bike back, right?
Yeah.
They just leave. They just scatter. And then they ask the Fonz to lock up, don't they?
Yeah.
Yeah. So then they leave. Potsie gets his bike back. Fonzie informs Richie that, like, hey, they really don't want to rumble. They just want to play some pool. You guys are going to have to pay the $4, which, like, I mean, that guy's not there. Who are they paying? You know what I mean? That guy's skedaddled. I don't know if that guy's going to be, the way that facility looks, I don't know that guy's going to be coming back saying, wait a minute, 4 guys played here. They owe me $4.
I need my money.
Yeah. So Potsie does end up paying. And yeah, then there's one more scene. Howard has this big kind of glass, real glass, that is like blue on one end, green on the other. And I guess it was like a color converter. Did you know they had such things?
No, I didn't know what that was. I thought that was like for a glass table or something.
Yeah. So he puts it over the TV. I guess they had like TVs that may look color, but if it's only green and blue, it couldn't have been that much color, you know?
Also, wasn't TV like in the 50s all black and white?
Yeah. Although that movie was in color for some reason. We talked about that the one, I think last time, remember?
Yeah.
But yeah. So then, like, I guess he put it upside down because they're like, the sky is green, the grass is blue. And then, like, Howard's like, this cost me $8.50. What do you expect? But $8.50 seems like a lot back then.
Yeah, definitely for back then. Definitely not now.
That would have been like $80, I would have thought, you know? Let's even say like 30. I don't know.
That's crazy.
Yeah, so he gets this color converter that doesn't work. Then he says he sees it fine. Then they all kind of like get behind him. Yeah. So that was the episode. That seemed like it went by fast, didn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you also forgot to mention a horrible Howard or helpful Howard.
I'm going to say helpful. He tried to get Richie out of there. He was telling him, not to get mixed up, giving him good advice. So I say helpful. How about you?
I'm going horrible.
Really? Why horrible?
All right. Here's why I say horrible Howard, right?
Okay.
One, I feel like he would have tried to, like, call the police about it and also prevented Richie from getting involved. Like, I know he was probably trying to teach him a lesson, but he should have just, like, kept Richie from getting involved.
Yeah, I guess I can see that instead of making him, I don't know. I feel like he was trying to give him advice, so he was helpful, but I can also see that like he probably shouldn't have trusted Richie.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And also it's like Richie was gonna he was gonna choose to go if he gives him the option.
Yeah.
And also, like, Richie could have seriously gotten hurt by all of them,
Yeah, he almost was. If it wasn't for Fonzie and Fonzie's gang, he would have been.
AKA the dropout.
Yeah. Definitely would have gotten hurt. So, yeah.
And also, I feel like he should do more research on that, the glass, I guess.
Yeah.
The color glass. I don't know what to call it.
Yeah, he probably should have done. I mean, what kind of research could they have done in the 50s? For a color converter, you know what I mean? Like the newspaper again. Was he like? Did he have to get the newspaper that Squirt was putting a want-ad in for Potsie's bike?
Wouldn't it have come with like instructions or something?
Yeah, I guess so. But I wonder how he even knew about it.
Yeah.
Like how back in the day did you know about this? But yeah, I don't know.
Maybe it was a scam.
Yeah, it sure seems like if it only has green and blue,
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, that again seemed like that was a very quick episode. But we really need to take notes to see. I don't really remember anything that we missed,
Yeah.
So, all right, that was episode 15. We're about to see if we'll see episode 14, kind of out of order. Hopefully we didn't miss too much. There you go. Would you like to watch another episode?
I do.
All right. So we'll be back next week with episode 14. Maybe we should instead watch season 5, episode 8, and then just come back.
That sounds weird that we were saying that we started at episode 15 and now we're saying that we'll see everyone next week on episode 14.
Well, you know why, right?
I know exactly why,
yeah,
but it just feels weird.
It is weird. I know. Maybe we should, well, I don't know. We kind of have to release this in order. But yeah, so yeah, we'll be back with the episode we missed. Hopefully that one isn't as bad as the Beatnik one, and then that'll be the end of it. But yeah.
Watch it be a part 2 of the Beatnik episode.
Oh, man. Yeah, that's definitely possible. Yeah, maybe Richie does go out on that journey with the Beatniks, you know what I mean? And, oof.
Your mind was telling you just to skip that episode, and it knew that it would be a Beatnik part 2.
Yeah, it would be that. Yeah, so thank you for joining us. If you like this, please like, subscribe, tell everyone you know. If you didn't, please keep it to yourself. Thank you, and we'll see you next week with the episode we should have watched this week.
What's Happy Days?